Hi, welcome to my channel. I wanted to talk today about why you should be a lawyer. And the reason that I wanted to approach this topic is because when I decided to be a lawyer, which took years of thinking about how do I want to do good in the world? How do I want to affect the world? I didn't know a lot about what it took to become a lawyer. I didn't know much about law school and that process, as well as what kind of career options I had as a lawyer. So I took a little bit of time to research how to do the application, how to take the LSAT. I didn't ask around enough what it was like to be a lawyer, to be fair, and it's just because I didn't really know that that was something people did. It was something that I know now and advise everyone to do, but it wasn't something I knew people did at that time. And so I was really excited when I applied and was accepted to law school. And I was telling friends and family members, and I received so many negative comments about how miserable law school was and how miserable lawyers were. And I started to doubt, did I make a really bad decision? I started to think, is this a good idea? I remember somebody told me specifically, it was an acquaintance, you really shouldn't go to law school unless you like reading very long, boring, dense material, which that's not selling anybody because I don't know if anyone really likes to read long, boring, and dense material when it's characterized that way, right? And so that's why I wanted to make this video. I want to be clear. Law school is tough, but I loved it. And you know what? I love being a lawyer. And you can do it. If you want to be a lawyer, you can do it. So I wanted to give you some of the things that I found to be great about law school. And I hope that it will help you to just weigh the options without hearing a lot of negativity about whether law school is a good option for you. So, first of all, in law school, you're going to meet your people. You will associate with some of the best and brightest people you've ever met before. And I think that it may feel intimidating if you don't characterize yourself as a bookish type or things like that. But I remember when I went to at my admitted students day, so a lot of law schools do an admitted students day where you can go and meet with other students who were accepted into the law school prior to accepting your invitation to join the law school. So I attended this at the law school I would attend, and I sat next to a girl, and we were some of the first people in this large room where we were going to have a presentation, and we had been assigned seats. I can't remember if they were alphabetical or how they were determined, but I was sitting next to this girl. She had pink hair. She looked really cool. I kept looking at this girl like, man, this girl is so cool. I don't think that I can be as cool as her. And then two gentlemen walked in, and they were not how I would describe as cool. And I say that as somebody who does not describe myself as cool, so I don't mean it as a insult. They were a little bit nerdy, and they started talking about things that were going over my head, and I was looking at them, and I wasn't sure if I would fit in with a group like this. And so I leaned over to the girl next to me, introduced myself. She introduced herself. I said, "Hey, why do you want to go to law school?" And she said, "Oh, I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I'm not really sure if I belong here." And she glanced over to those same young men, and I realized we were in the same boat. And you'll always find your people in law school, whether it's that type or it's the type with pink hair who's really, really cool. Uh, there will also be so much reading. And so if you do love reading, it is a great spot for you. I won't pretend like some of that reading isn't really dense. Um, and it can be very difficult to read. But what is so cool about law school is that you get to learn how to read and discern this material. And by the time you leave law school, you'll be an incredible reader. I've always been a really strong reader, so I didn't even know I needed more improvement in my reading. Who would have thought that I would need to increase my reading skills after grade 12? That was something I wasn't aware of. And so I was shocked how much I grew. My first year of law school, I was presented with a case, and it was a very old case. It was from the 1800s. It used different language than what we use now. I didn't fully understand a lot of the legal aspects it was talking about, and it was less than a page. So it was about 3/4 of a page. And what was so crazy was I read that thing, I don't know, 100 times. And I was crying because I thought to myself, I still can't understand what is happening in this case. Um, by the end of law school, there was no way I'd be spending an hour reading a case like that. I had learned how to decipher those words. The third thing is, you think you go to law school to argue, or at least that's what I thought. But what you actually go to law school to do is learn how to be the most reasonable person in the room. And I think a lot of people imagine lawyers to be just really disagreeable, and I think some certainly are. I want to be clear about that. What law school is really about is about empathizing with the other side's arguments so that you can make sure your arguments are as strong as possible, because the judge is going to care about the other side's arguments. So if you don't know how to address those, if you don't understand why your position is better, or if there's weaknesses, why your outcome is still better, then you're not going to win cases. And so you really have to learn to be reasonable and to understand other people's positions and where they're coming from. That will not only make you an excellent advocate, it will make you an excellent negotiator and an excellent mediator in whatever form that your lawyering takes. And so that's a pretty invaluable skill that you get out of law school. The fourth thing is that you'll really gain a lot of confidence in speaking in front of others. That was something that I really struggled with prior to going to law school, being able to speak and vocalize my opinions in front of a group. A lot of people really hate the Socratic method. And if you're not familiar with what a lot of law schools do, your first year, especially in law school, they use what's called the Socratic method. And that is when students are put on the spot with a question about a case that they read the day before, a couple of days before, and they have to just answer one, two, three, as many questions as the professor throws at them about that case. You're put under a lot of pressure, but what that does, it really lets you learn how to think on your feet. And it is something that I wouldn't necessarily say I want to do again, but I learned so much from using the Socratic method, and I see why it continues to persist in law schools. The fifth thing is easy, right? You'll learn how to manage your time so well. There is a large workload in law school, and you're going to have to do readings, and you're going to have to do writings, you're going to have to be prepared for class, and you learn how to do it. And that is invaluable in and of itself. Six, which I think is one of the biggest blessings of law school, is how many career options that you get to learn about, which may be in the law or law adjacent. You have the opportunity to associate with so many attorneys throughout law school. There will be so many careers that you didn't even know were available to you, but now that you have a law degree or that you're working towards that law degree, doors will be open to you. And that is amazing. One of the things that really was appealing to me when I was thinking about going to law school was that I knew that I wanted to start a family in a few years, and I wanted to be able to have some flexibility when it came to my children. And sure enough, I've been able to find work where I am able to work remotely from home, and my hours have a lot of flexibility in them, so it maximizes my time with my children as well. And so law school opens those doors. A lot of people think of education as the family career, and a lot of lawyers will tell you it's not a family career, but it really depends on what kind of work you want to do. And as you talk to more lawyers, you'll see there's variety across the field, and you can do anything that you want to go around the lifestyle and the values that you want. The seventh thing is that even in law school, you gain authority. And what I mean by that is you will have friends and family members your first year of law school who will say, hey, could you help me look at this lease and make sure everything is cool? Or ask for other types of legal advice. Should you be giving out that legal advice? I wouldn't say that you should, but that's the kind of authority and status that you gain as an attorney. And I'm not saying that we should do things because it gives us a certain status, but it does feel amazing to be able to offer to the world a skill set that is technical and that is needed, that other people don't have. And so you can give that to people who don't have it. The last thing I will say, and it's something to remember whether you're considering law school or any other field, is that it will be very, very hard. And just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's something that you shouldn't do. Because humans are made to do hard things. It is like the very fiber of our being to do hard things. And so I hope that that won't stop you from pursuing law school because you, my friend, whoever you are, I know you can do hard things. I know that about you. The important thing is that if you want to become a lawyer, you can become a lawyer that reflects your values and your interest. And when lawyers are unhappy, the unhappy lawyers you may talk to, it's because they're not pursuing those things. They're not pursuing the things that are aligned with their values and interest. I've just had a lot of fun in everything that I've done. Let me know in the comments what questions you have, or if you've already started law school, tell me what you love about it. Or if there's nothing you like about it, tell me that too. Tell me if I'm not being fair representing what law school and the legal field is like. I want to know. I do want to say, if you don't want to be a lawyer, don't be a lawyer. And don't let anyone else convince you to be a lawyer. Because I'll tell you, my classmates who didn't want to be lawyers, they did not end up being lawyers. Whether they didn't graduate law school, whether they graduated law school and they left the field of law after a short period of time, they didn't want to be lawyers. And so you don't have to be a lawyer if you don't want to be a lawyer. But if you do want to be a lawyer, you can do it. If you like this video, I'd love a thumbs up so that I know what kind of videos to make in the future, and I'll see you next time.